All right, everyone. This is week 14 of the Westside Fantasy Premier Fantasy Football League update show. Regular season is behind us, and next week we start week one of the playoffs. For those of you that didn't make the playoffs, you'll still have some games scheduled. There'll be a little consolation tournament going on, so still reason for you to pay attention and set your rosters. And certainly, we're all savvy enough players by now. No dropping of players for the non-playoff teams. Well, let's take a look at it because we had quite a jostling of position. Not only did we have jostling at the top of our league as a result of last week's results, but we also had a bunch of jostling at the bottom. At the top, Ghetto Superstar with the 141 to 134.8 win over Rough the Passer vaults himself into the number 2 position overall and the number 1 position in División del Norte. AutoSmacked, who I beat, has been sliding as of late and had been holding on to that number 1 position all season long, but Miles, when it mattered most, put it together and took the win. So, now at the bottom of it, we've had, last week I went from, the week before I went from number 5, lost, and to Los Inadoros, and then, to the Darkside, and then went down to number 8. And this week, I beat AutoSmacked 126 to 104, and I vaulted back up to 5th position. So a lot of jostling in there in those 4, 5, and 6 positions. Not so much the 4. Well, yeah, the 4, because Passing Fancies were out of the playoffs last week as well. So anything from 4 all the way down to 6, lots of jostling. Only the top 3 positions have been stable throughout. So, any rate, Passing Fancies comes in at number 4. Well, let's just go over the results real quick, and then we'll talk about the lineups, and we'll talk about it next week, and then we're out of here. So, Smell This beat AutoSmacked 125 to 104. Big win for Smell This to move into the playoffs. First time in ages in this league. In my other league, number 2. I'm just saying. The One Who Knocks, who's been fairly consistent all year, but point production as of late has been low, beats Los Inadoros 101 to 67.9. Ghetto Superstar behind 141 beat Rough the Passer and put Rough the Passer on the sidelines for the playoffs. Ferocious Fennec over the beatdown 141.9 to 107.8 for John. Too little too late for Jake, who finishes the year in a disappointing 11th place. Ha! Tables a turn, young Master McCarthy. Any rate, Brother is, again, once was a playoff team, but finishes the season as number 8, loses to the Darkside 137 to 124. And Passing Fancies, highest point production out of the league this weekend, 161.3 over the OG Allier Rogers, 107.3. So taking a look at our playoffs, number 1 and number 2, the first round buys are going to be the One Who Knocks, overall number 1, and Ghetto Superstar, overall number 2. First round buys for those 2 lucky mugs. For those that have to play for their supper, Passing Fancies versus Smell This. This is, Jim and I have played at least once this year. I want to say maybe twice. Check the schedule real quick. Come on, dude. So yeah, Smell This, Passing Fancies. I beat Passing Fancies in week 10. And that was our only head-to-head matchup. So feeling pretty good about that. So any rate, Passing Fancies against Smell This in one of our quarterfinal games. That's 7-16, 2 7-6 teams squaring off. 127 to 132 in favor of Jim right now. For Jim, Cam Newton against Atlanta, Steve Smith against Atlanta, Stevan Ridley against Houston, and Ahmad Bradshaw against New Orleans. For me, Eli is against New Orleans. Now, don't be surprised if Matt Schaub gets the start. I've been holding him on my bench. A.J. Green against Dallas, Calvin Johnson against Green Bay, Pierre Thomas against New York Giants. Also, you may start seeing a little bit of Rod Stevens howling coming into play for me. So, either way, though, Jim is looking to be a 5-point favorite at this point. I am going to give the pick to Smell This. In our other first-round playoff game, the Darkside versus AutoSmacked. AutoSmacked at 8-5. The Darkside at 6-7. It's 132.3 to 131.2 in favor of Mike Kwan. For Mike, Tom Brady against Houston, Wes Welker against Houston, Adrian Peterson against Chicago, and Darryl Sproles against New York Giants. For AutoSmacked, Matty Ice goes against Carolina. Not a bad matchup. Ryan Matthews against Pittsburgh. Terrible matchup. And Arian Foster against New England. Good matchup there. I'm going to give the pick to Darkside. I'm just liking his matchups a little bit better. Especially that Darren Sproles against New York. Well, you know what? The pick's already set. I'm going to give it to Darkside. But I could very easily go to AutoSmacked. In our other two games, for our Consolation Championship, Ferocious Fennec at 5-8 takes on Rough the Passer at 5-7-1. It's 137 to 133 on paper in favor of Jake McCarthy. Andrew Luck against Tennessee. Mike Wallace against San Diego. Marshawn Lynch against Arizona for Jake. For Rob, Peyton goes against Oakland. Brandon Lloyd against Houston. Doug Martin against Philadelphia. Doug Martin alone should carry Rough the Passer to the win. And in our other consolation game, the OG Alia Rogers versus Los Sinadoros. Right now, Alia Rogers are only going with one wide receiver. Could be a strategy attack here, but it's 108-102 on paper going to the Alia Rogers. But because of that open spot, I'm going to go give the win to Los Sinadoros. All right, folks, so that's it. We've got a Thursday night game this week. The Thursday night game is your Denver Broncos versus your Oakland Raiders. For those teams that did not get into the playoffs, and you know who you are, I might suggest that that you pay your money to Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Jim McCarthy. It's $50 American, $50 American. That'll do. Probably be a good thing to go ahead and get that money off to Jim, especially for those teams that did not make the playoffs. I will post Jim's mailing address on the Facebook page. So that's about it for now. Hope you guys have a great week. Get your lineup set. Thursday night game once again, Denver versus Oakland. Good luck, everybody. See you next week. Bye.